I personally don't understand why people that actually play games don't want to improve their skills and truly improve their skills, even if it's just the sake of self-improvement. Like personally, I eventually want to be able to push my characters to the absolute limits. While I mostly agree with you, Inferno, remember what we talked about before, right? And you guys that are watching the video would have already seen this video, but there's a video going over like casual players. So the other week we talked about this stuff in a casual perspective, which was basically like, what does the casual player want to achieve, right? What is it they're looking for? What is it they want to do? And so not everybody wants to take a character and push it to their limits. And that doesn't mean that they don't want to play that game, right? I don't really care about pushing Fortnite to its limits. Sometimes I'll want to play ranked, and so I'll learn, right? But if I'm just playing Fortnite, I just play Fortnite, right? Me and my boy Natsu will get on the game. Natsu's cracked at Fortnite. And my job when playing Fortnite is to be just good enough that I don't weigh Natsu down. That's it. But I'm not trying to be out here doing 360 no scopes and power slides and parkour off the buildings and hopping in and out of the cars and doing all the tech. I don't want to know that. Green player versus red player things, exactly, the list. I don't really have to know any of that stuff, right? And that goes for a lot of things. Same thing with Zenless. So when we did go back into it, remember when we made this the other day on stream, which like I said, you guys would have already seen this video, so it's fine for me to talk about the big ones here, right? The top whatever. We made this video or made this tier list based off the characters that I believe would be the most casual friendly agents in the game. And that's because these 10 characters, which if you want to include these down below, you can, but these collection of characters give a player everything that they would want from a casual perspective without them needing to learn more than the basics. And there's a couple of different reasons for that, right? Inferno, remember when I mentioned that there needs to be a bridge? I was talking to Rune about it, but remember when I said there needs to be a bridge, right? Something that helps that player connect the dots. There needs to be something that makes them want to do that or encourages them to want to do that. In this case, what that is basically there needs to be a bridge that makes them or encourages them to like, hey, I want to learn the game now. I want to learn more about this. And so this could be, I picked up Yidhari and she's really fun, but I noticed that I have the same exact team that the top players are using. I have all their W engines and I have M2 Yidhari, but my score is only 21K. They're killing the boss. What am I doing wrong? And that's the bridge. That might be what they need to jump into learning how to actually play Yidhari, right? Or the thing with Piper. Hey man, I really like Piper's character, and she has a really easy free to play team, but I noticed when I play Piper, I can't clear. I can't get the 20K. I can't get the 25K. Like I'm struggling, but I'm using the same characters that are her best in slot like everyone else. And I'm seeing all these other clears on YouTube. I'm seeing my friends and they're getting 35 or 40K. That's the bridge, right? Like they're interested in the character enough that they want to learn more about how to use the character. So a lot of the times when a player is casual, they just don't have that. You know what I mean? I mentioned this way back when at the beginning of Zenless Zone Zero, whenever Ellen during the initial launch banner, right? And I was telling people a lot of why people were feeling bad about Zenless at the time was because they did not have a character that they actually enjoyed playing. At the time, excluding Ellen, our S ranks in the game were, where are we at? Lycon, Soldier 11, Rina, damn, she got some fat ass titties, Nekomata, Grace, and Coleta. Only 2 of these characters are DPS characters, Nekomata and Soldier 11. Both characters, mind you, both of these characters have something that early Zenless had that a lot of the other characters later on do not have, which is something mechanically challenging to learn. Soldier 11 has rhythm-based inputs, aka like I'll say fighting games because I'm just used to it. You could say DMC, you could say action adventure, it doesn't really matter. Point is, they're rhythm-based. Like you have to learn the input 1 2 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 2 1, right? You have to figure out what the rhythm is, and that was really difficult for a lot of gacha game players because that was their first time being introduced into something like that. Nekomata's thing is literally hitting people from the back. Her whole thing in her kit is hitting a stunned enemy or whatever from the back, making them stun, and then using her EX skills and finding out different ways to do that. She's more of a movement-based character than all the other characters that we had. And so when it comes to Nekomata, the key thing is about playing her. That's why at the time when I was saying like, yo, she has plinking, and people were like, oh man, what the is plinking, whatever, stop bringing the fighting game. But that was a part of her kit, especially when you get into the later half of the gameplay. At some point, if you wanted to play this character at an optimal level, you had to implement her dash attacks and being able to cancel the actual animation of the dash attacks into other attacks. You know, basics, her EX skill, the ult, whatever. You needed to find a way to use the momentum she had in her kit in order to close the gap between you and an enemy. And so when she had what I would call plinking, right, is that Nekomata was the only character in the game at that time that could go from the very back of the screen to about 75%, basically full screen, right? She's the only character that had a practical full screen dash, or practically full screen dash that took her from point A to point B. And being able to use that distance, that speed, that animation itself, and cancel it into anything else would be significantly beneficial for players who wanted to play Nekomata. That's why at the time, Nekomata was my favorite DPS to play out of the standard characters. Of course, she fell off damage-wise and whatever else and things like that. And on top of that, both of these characters were just not fun to play for the average gacha player who just wasn't into that. If we go back into the game here, Rina, you don't even play Rina. You can't play her until M6. So if you got Rina as your first character, your only other DPS option is like Billy or Corrin. You know what I mean? And everyone just didn't enjoy that. Grace, at that time, Grace was the most technically advanced character to play and understand, because people just refused to understand what dash dancing is. They didn't want to learn it. And it is what it is, but that's how you played that character at the time. Lycon is not a DPS character, he's a stunner. And so then your only other option was to get the limited character, Ellen, or wait 3 weeks for Zhu Yuan. You know what I mean? It wasn't until, and there's a very case cold example of this, Hex Juice. Hex did not like Zenless. She despised it whenever she first started to play it. And I remember telling her, I was sitting in her chat and I told her, it might just be because you don't have a character that you enjoy. And I think that once you get Ellen, if you decide to keep playing, you'll really enjoy the game. 2 days later, she got Ellen and her opinion completely changed on the game because Ellen was fun to play. So that it's so important. There has to be this bridge. I know this was long-winded for, you know, some of you guys, but if you guys are watching the video, I just really wanted to explain that for anybody else that might also feel the same way that Inferno does, where it's like, I want more people to like learn the game, or like want to learn the game, right? I don't understand why people play a game and they don't want to learn it. And it's because a lot of them just don't have that bridge. Look at how many people are just now joining Zenless Zone Zero because the Angels of O-Block. The Angels of O-Block are bringing so many players into the game because that's what they wanted to play. Ye Shun Guang, my buddy, right? He picked up the game for Ye Shun Guang. That's it. He wasn't playing before that. Now he plays the game because Ye Shun Guang was so cool. It's funny, he hates how boring she is, but he loves like being able to just mash buttons with the character. So now he keeps up with the game. Anyway, all in all, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. Thank y'all for watching it. Little bit of a game lesson, if you will, at the end of the video, but it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I know this is supposed to be about like Shifu Ice, which I think is really cool, but I feel like it led into a different conversation that is pretty interesting too. Anyway, if you want to see more stuff like this live, join the streams or hang out in the Discord. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Like the video, comment, subscribe. Smell you later.